everyone, Grant from Spectre Racing. So we're back after a bit of a break from racing. As you can see in the back here, we've got the Mustang. No more fender flares after the incident at Sebring. You can see the video just going off track a while ago. But today's video, we're going to focus on prepping for grid life. Now, basically, what is grid life time attack? Now, if you've seen a video about 9 months ago, I actually took my daily driver, my Tesla Model 3 Performance, and did a grid life time attack in the Street GT class. And you can kind of see what it's like, the overview, but basically it's a time trials race where you're going to be just competing for time. They actually stream it to Twitch and everything, so it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of other things that go on during the race. Usually they're festivals, so there's music and all those kinds of things. It's generally my favorite type of time attack. They don't really take it too seriously. It's not that hardcore. There are classes that we'll get into in a little bit here, but I am currently registered for Carolina Motorsports Park, Gingerbread Raceway, and Road America. Planning on going to Lime Rock too if I can get into it. These events are very hard to get into. Now the Mustang behind me, we're going to be entering it in Street Mod class. So basically the classes in grid life are a bit more, they try and keep costs down. A lot of the cars there aren't like, super duper $100,000, $200,000 cars. They try and keep it realistic. The class is limited to 285 tire size. So you can see in the pictures, I have bought a new set of wheels and everything. No more ultra wide body. The Mustang, not really going to do autocross anymore. The Tesla is just so much better than it, unfortunately, in autocross. Although coincidentally, this Tesla kind of sucks at at full track. As you see, if you watched the previous video about taking it there, it just cannot go very fast above about 95. So as the track is fast, you're pretty screwed. But anyway, basically you're limited to 285 tire size. And the other thing for Street Mod class, the car has to be streetable. And I think it has what's called like the ice cream rule, which you have to be able to take your car through a drive-through at like Dairy Queen or whatever with your girlfriend or wife or whoever and be able to make it through there. So I actually am completely abiding by the rules. The car now has full interior radio, even the airbags all work and everything. So it has the GT500 stock steering wheel in it now. So we're abiding by there. But with going down to those narrow tire sizes and some of the other things over the years, I wanted to kind of change things up on the Mustang, improve some things here and there. So there are really two key issues with the Mustang that have been limiting its ability to kind of do better than it can. Okay, so the two key issues, well, I should really say there's three. One of them is obviously me, but I can only get as good as I can. But are really the first and foremost is the intake air temperatures. And it being a supercharged car, I'm not a smart man tracking a supercharged car, but I love the noises it makes, and it's cool and it's fun. It's an interesting challenge. But in the past, this car has been pretty competitive. I've actually won Max 2 at Daytona and the SCCA time trials. But in most of those races, what ends up happening is I can only do about 2, maybe 3 hot laps before I have to come in. Once the intake air temperature reaches about 160, you're kind of running danger levels according to the tuner, but intaking those temperatures can be kind of dangerous, obviously. So the reason why that really matters is basically me as a better driver. One of the ways to get better besides just doing oodles of track days is Garmin Catalyst. And I've had one before, and you need a certain amount of laps to calibrate the device. Like the Tesla couldn't do that many laps, ironically, because the battery would overheat. The Mustang couldn't do that many laps because it's supercharged and it heat soaks badly. So in order to do better and to use the coaching tool, the car needs to be able to do more laps to calibrate the device. I think you need at least, I've used it a lot in our Volkswagen, probably 3 to 5 laps to be able to calibrate it consistently. If you don't know what the Garmin Catalyst is, loads of videos online, and I'm sure I'll make one in the future. It's kind of like turning on an audio version of the racing line in Forza. It's very effective. It's not against the rules or anything in various time trial races. And it's a great tool, especially if you just don't have the time to go out there and race constantly, time or funds. It is a little expensive, but paired with a motorcycle Bluetooth helmet microphone and a microphone speaker is a great tool. But getting back to the car, I really needed to find a way to just make the car last longer, right? So the second thing with the car is just the brakes. This one wasn't nearly as important. Towards the end of running the Mustang, I kind of had worked out some of the brake issues with the brakes kind of locking up on hard lock. That is just kind of the funkiness of running the ABS system on this car. You can like try and rewire it with a newer Boss 02 ABS module, but you can actually fool it by running stiffer pads in the rear, which I did, and that for the most part worked pretty well. But along that, just if the car's gonna be running longer, I want the brakes to be able to run longer and not overheat and wear down. Getting a better braking system. Okay, so what has changed on the car? So diverging a little bit from the two key issues, since we're running kind of a narrower tire size, one of the first things I did is I wanted to be able to run basically bigger aero. So I switched from all the old APR stuff, and this stuff was great. My APR splitter smashed into many things over the years, and my APR wing, both great aero devices, but they both weren't built exactly to the class that I'm going to be running in now, and they have specific measurements. So I bought a set of AJ Hartman Aero, the wing and splitter. As you can see, they are absolutely gigantic. These things are built for the class. If you don't know anything about AJ Hartman Aero, he runs American Iron, and he's won multiple times, and he's also great at obviously building these carbon fiber composites. So you can see everything is kind of ducted in and everything, and the wing itself, absolutely gigantic. It's kind of a problem actually because I don't have an enclosed trailer anymore, so I have to kind of take it off and trailering it. So otherwise it just murders your gas mileage. Okay, so probably the most important thing and biggest project I've ever undertaken in the last couple months is improving the heat exchanger system in the Mustang. So this is a bit of an experiment, and as you can see in the test that you'll see in a little bit in the video, it seems to work pretty good. I'm going to be testing it a little bit more coming up here in a little bit, but it is now a split system. So up front, I used to have the VMP triple pass heat exchanger. Worked great. The only problems were it didn't really fit in the bumper, so it was kind of stretching and ruining the bumper. The inlet to it, it was tiny, and not sure how effective that really was, but you know, it did make the car last as long as it could on Daytona and the Firm and Sebring. But you know, two hot laps at Sebring, 3 at Daytona, maybe 4 at Firm. More needed to be done. So what I did is I actually kept the VMP triple pass, but I took my GT500 single pass heat exchanger, and that now is being run up front, ducted. So the split system is now running the front heat exchanger, runs all the way to the back of the car where the rear seat divider is between the trunk and the rear seat. There is now a plenum inlet for the triple pass there and a plenum outlet, all built with HVAC stuff to where the license plate is. And that system has the fans. So if you've ever tracked the Mustangs and gone really fast with the stock rear seat and everything, and you brake really hard, you can feel all the pressure and air just coming out. So with this new system, you can kind of feel the air just flowing through the car. It doesn't dump out anymore. So you're getting a lot more airflow through these dual radiators. Now with the dual radiators, you're gonna need a lot of pump volume. So the GT500 pump is incredibly powerful, but even so, I'm adding a lot of weight and a lot of line to the system. So with that, I also upgraded to the VMP intercooler. So the VMP intercooler has bigger inlets and outlets, and the actual pump volume of the car is incredible with the amount of lines and crap that it has to go through and bends and stuff. So the volume, you can never really have enough volume pushing it through the system, and it seems to work great considering how much there is of it. Okay, so next up, the other key point, brakes. So the brakes on the old setup were the old SVT 4-piston setup on the 2007 to 2009 GT500, I think, and the first generation performance pack for the 2015 Mustang. So Ford switched to a 6-piston setup in 2013 for the GT500, and I think later on for the performance pack Mustangs in 2017 or 18 or whatever. This is actually the GT500 system. Very expensive, and a lot of people don't switch to it, especially for autocross. Autocross, definitely would not recommend it for autocross. The rotors are extremely heavy. The whole system, extremely heavy. But being that I'm not really going to autocross this car that much anymore except for testing, not a big deal. So the system actually comes with larger rear rotors. Now it's still the same rear caliper, but it's some kind of bracket. It extends, I think it's 13.4 inch or something. I'll have it on our website. All the specs of the Mustang are on the website if you're interested in building something similar. And it comes with new calipers in the rear. So running R12 pads in the back and R10s in the front, or it might be R14, R12, I can't remember. Again, on the website. The other thing, since those front rear rotors were so heavy, you know, I did actually, in the video upcoming, you'll see I did run them with the front, the OE, I guess you could call it, front rotors that are extremely heavy. And coming from the 12-inch wheels, I didn't really notice much of a difference. So I did switch, though, to the gyro discs, and I haven't tested these yet, but they are absolutely fantastic looking. The vanes in the middle are actually 9 millimeters wider than the stock one. So I think you sacrifice a little bit of longevity of the rotors, which, you know, the car doesn't really see many miles anyway, so it doesn't matter. You sacrifice a little longevity there, but for heat dissipation, so really, again, towards that goal of just lasting longer at a race, not having fade and that sort of thing. So yeah, and the gyro discs are because they're a 2-piece rotor, the center is a lot lighter. I think they're about 9 pounds lighter, and you can definitely feel the weight difference. So lastly, some of the less exciting things I've done to the car. A new interior OMP seat. Now, safety is everyone's least favorite thing to spend money on. But I will say, it came with an added benefit that I didn't expect, is full containment seats. You know, not great for daily driving, obviously, but the full containment seat, you can still kind of see pretty fine out the left and right, even for street driving. It does look a little ridiculous, street driving, full containment. I think they do sell some with removable side bolsters, but I couldn't find that anymore. The OMP seat was a little pricey at $1,000. It is very comfortable, and one of the added benefits I noticed was that you feel more connected to the car. And, you know, running the Corbeau seats were excellent. Fixed back. I don't like reclining seats. I like fixing it to me. You know, obviously that means you can't have a co-driver, but fixing it to you, you just feel more connected to the car. And the full containment seat, you really feel connected to the car. And I think psychologically, it kind of makes you at least feel or maybe be a better driver. So that was one of the added benefits. Again, like I said, it's got the OMP harnesses and everything. The car already had fire suppression, so it's fairly safe. All the stock stuff is back in, GT500 stock steering wheel with the airbags. Now I do disconnect the fuse and everything when racing, obviously, because I'll be using full Hans harness and everything. So results. So this was testing part 1. Now this was without the VMP intercooler, without the gyro discs, and the rear plenum inlet for the heat exchanger. So basically it was just kind of a radiator with a plenum outlet. So air was kind of getting around it when I was testing. But I wanted to make sure this effort was, at least it was showing some sort of improvement before I spent more effort. And so the car did do very well, especially at autocross. Considering I don't want autocross, it's like the car is trying to tell me something. But how well balanced the car is now with all that weight in the rear, you know, with the triple pass in the trunk now, 60, 70 pounds directly over the rear axle, just handles perfectly. And if you're wondering about the handling setup of the car, be sure to check out the website. I cannot hammer on how well the car handled at autocross. Now I'm running 19-inch wheels, so I actually did win KMC, and I think like 14th overall on 200 tread wear, Kumho tires, 275s actually. I haven't gotten the 285s yet. And winning KMC against 2013 GT500, which is kind of what this car is, just kind of like a race version of it and a little bit lighter than that car, and a 2020 GT500. Now again, an autocross driver is kind of everything, but just comparatively, that was pretty impressive for its first debut. Now we also did a track sprint. You can see here, the track sprint is kind of, I like using them for like an early test and tune when you don't want to go directly to a track day. Same with autocross. The track sprint is kind of you do one lap at a time, so that way folks don't have to run like .4 brake fluid and kind of the other things. But actually I think it's a little harder on your car because you don't get any cool down laps, so it's a little hard on the brakes, which I kind of liked as a test. Hard on the, you know, the supercharger and everything because no cool down. You know, you just kind of let the cars heat soak essentially. You're not getting that airflow through the system, doing cool down laps or like a warm up lap, I guess you could say. But you know, the car, I got it up. I actually ran the car purposefully, tried to get it as hot as possible, let it run for about 10-15 minutes before even the parade lap, making sure it got up to it sort of idles about a 130 something IAT. So running it there and running it then through the parade lap and then 5 individual laps where, you know, you kind of pull in, wait 2 to 3 minutes and then go back out again. And, you know, car never got above like 145-ish IAT. And so I did have some problems with the plenum at the time, which I've now fixed. And you can see in the earlier video here where I had the inlet now designed with HVAC stuff. And so yeah, and the brakes did get a little warm on the 5th lap. You could tell they were starting to fade. So that was kind of one of the reasons why I ended up going with the gyro discs, just to maybe extend their life to maybe 6 or 7 hot laps, which would be fantastic, you know. So results were good. Going back to test it again, so that will probably be a little bit of a quicker video next time to see the results of kind of the gyro disc, the intercooler, and the rear HE inlet plenum, to see if that all helped a little bit comparatively, because I'll be doing the exact same event, so it's kind of nice to do a baseline. And then I'll probably do, if I have time, I'll probably do another full track day at the firm, just so I can get kind of the same kind of baseline. Maybe, maybe not, and then, you know, we're off to Carolina Motorsports Park. So with that, that kind of ends the video here. Try to keep you guys updated as much as I can, more other content. Now, if there is nothing that comes up, it's probably because the engine blew up. The motor is getting a little older, so I'm hoping it'll make it through the year. If not, I've started to put together plans to do the Coyote swap, and so that would be a video in itself. It just will take a long time, obviously. But let's hope that doesn't happen this year and we can get through some of the races. So until later, thanks for watching.